Hey all, it's me, Annie Woods. This is my fourth attempt at vlogging. Again, you may notice no title screen, you're not going to see any end credits. I've pretty much decided, since I tend to keep things kind of basic, I'm just going to keep these basic. One day I may do title screens and such, but for now, I'm just going to keep it to me, the built-in video camera, and anybody who actually really wants to watch this. So, this week's vlog is actually going to be about writing, oddly enough, since, gee, I'm not a writer. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I am. One of the things I wanted to bring up was to touch base again on the issue of character. Character is... I think characters are what make the story. The setting, the plot, those are key points. But how boring would Hunger Games be without Katniss? Or The Wizard of Oz be without Dorothy? Or Alice in Wonderland be without Alice and the Mad Hatter and the Cheshire Cat? All these worlds are interesting enough, but if you don't have a character that brings those worlds to life and makes us want to follow them through their world, what's the point in telling the story? This is one of the reasons why, when I went back to revise Only a Name, the novel that I'm currently in the middle of revising, so I'm going to have polished and ready to go by June, I had to make a tough decision. Whose voice did I want to use? Did I want to use Sorcia's? Did I want to use Colwyn's? Did I want to keep using multiple voices or bring it down to one? I read through the story a couple of times before I made my decision, and my decision was based on which character spoke the loudest to me. That character was Sorcia. Problem is, Colwyn was right up there with her, so I may end up splitting the point of view between Sorcia and Colwyn, since they do spend a good chunk of the book separated, and there are things going on that Sorcia has no clue about that Colwyn is a part of. There are things that obviously Sorcia's going through that Colwyn's got no clue. And for all the fact that the two of them are have magic, they're not technically mages, but they have magic. You'll have to read the story to understand. I'm not going into any more details than that. But with that, there are events that are going to happen to both of them that will come back to haunt them later in the story. But neither of them can read minds. Neither of them can really scry on anybody or anything like that. At least I don't think I gave those two that ability. I think I gave that to somebody else. That's the downside to writing by the seat of your pants. You don't have the copious character notes that that somebody who plots and plans and does every little detail might have. I tend to leave myself notes or write notes in Notepad or in Word and leave myself a note file. Kind of like, as I mentioned in my blog post, my phone book file. That's the list of vague characters or characters that I created, but then I lost their story somewhere, or their story just never unfolded. They're there. They're there for me to pick up. Okay, I need another character. Oh, hey, you'll fit. And promptly grab that character and throw it into the story. I've done that a few times with a few of the stories that I've been working on. Interestingly enough, Only a Name is one of them. And the character I threw in was actually a character that was needed to provide conflict, because I didn't have a very good antagonist in the story up until I added him and made him more real. And it works out a lot better that way. But Colwyn has more to do with him than Sorcia does. So I'm beginning to think I'm probably going to have to split it to where it is Sorcia and Colwyn's points of view on this. But we'll see where it goes. But that's the point I'm trying to make. You never know where your story is going to go unless you find the right characters to carry it for you. I mean, I'm sure we'd all have looked at Alice in Wonderland and went, this is boring, if Alice hadn't been such an interesting person. And even more interesting were the characters that she met. Or I would definitely not have finished Hunger Games if we'd been following PETA or crud. Can't remember all the character names. But if we had been following somebody less interesting than Katniss, I would have gone, bleh, and just put it to the side. That's kind of what happened with the Harper Blaine series, the Grey Walker series. It got to the point where the characters... I couldn't finish it because the story was not built for the characters to carry it. The story was built to sensationalize the characters. While that may be a common theme in urban fantasy, that's not something that I myself enjoy. I want characters that have depth, that change as the series goes on. When I don't see change in a character over 5 books, that's when I'm going, this author doesn't have a goal in mind. Or this character is so boring, so static. They're going to stay the same. I already know how it's all going to end. What's the point? That's one of the reasons why I enjoy making characters that have a life, have a personality, and that live and breathe as they come off the page. At least they do to me. I don't know yet. I haven't let anybody read the book yet, because I'm not done with my revisions. When I'm done with the revisions, then I'll let people read it, and we'll see if it all makes sense to them and if it works that way. But as a writer, I don't care what story you're telling. If you are telling the story of a historical figure, you're doing a biography on them. If you are writing fantasy, science fiction, urban fantasy, horror, make me feel what those characters are feeling. Make me feel and sense and smell and taste and see the world through their eyes. That is the kind of characterization that I want to see when I'm world building, and that's what I hope to see when I read somebody else's story. And this is pushing her along again, so we obviously know I talk too much. But anyway, this is Annie Woods signing off. I'll be back next week with another vlog. We'll see ya later.